This is the famous Hole in the Rock Road, famous with a very specific group of people. It cuts through a big part of Grand Staircase Escalante and goes to some of its best features. So basically I'm going to go up Peekaboo Canyon and come back down Spooky Canyon. Peekaboo Canyon is a lot wider and easily accessible, but it has some really amazing curves and sections that I want to photograph. Spooky Canyon is a lot more narrow and a lot more difficult to climb through, but the narrowness makes for some really interesting shots with a wide lens. So those are the couple things that I'm going to be trying out to do today. Here at the trailhead, there's only 2 other cars here. It's already a lot warmer than it was when I first got up. It's going to be a great day. All right, let me go through a couple of things I'm bringing with me here. Very narrow in there. It's not recommended to bring anything too big. I'm gonna bring this hydration pack. Obviously I'm gonna bring my hat. It's gonna be very sunny out there in the open areas. Obviously bringing the camera. Bring the camera with a wide angle lens, shoulder strap. That way I can keep it side body. Also, I always keep a lens hood on here, especially in a place like this where you're in tight quarters. If you bang it up against something, you're not actually gonna damage the lens. This will protect it. Lather on some good sunscreen. I should only be out there for about 2-3 hours. I should really have a small pack of this to be bringing with me. Try to stay out of the sun as much as possible. That's why I wear the long clothes as well. Cliff Bar, my tripod, because it does get dark in there. Even if it's sunny out here, it does get dark. And if you want to shoot at a low ISO, you might end up with a shutter speed less than 1/100th, where you don't want to be doing handheld. Bring an extra GoPro battery for you. And that's about it. So, gonna get this stuff ready, put the boots on, and get going. So, I'm all set. I'm finally heading off onto the trail. It's about 7:45. Got some nice light right now. It looks like it's not too cloudy. You always want to check the weather before you go into a slot canyon. They are prone to flooding, even if there are storms very far off. This is the Rim Trail. This is a newer section. You get this really beautiful winding walk along the Rim Trail here, looking down into the canyon area. There, that's the entrance to Peekaboo Canyon. Spooky comes out down there. So here's the last little descent before you get to the wash on the canyon floor. So very quickly you come upon the entrance to Peekaboo Canyon right here. Today I'm going to go in here because I want to see what the light looks like early. Climb up and in. It looks a little daunting. It's not that bad. There's already some amazing features right when you start. Straight ahead's always nice, but always look down and always look up. So this is a perfect example of why you want to look up. This feature right here is really, really interesting. It's just kind of a hole in the rock with this arch going across. So to get interesting shots, shoot up, use the blue sky. If you want to get that exposure right, you're probably going to need to take 2 shots because the blue sky is going to be way brighter than these rocks right now. Wall to stabilize. I got a silhouette shot, and I got some shots where the red is coming through. One of the greatest things about these canyons, the textures, the way that the light bounces, these little tiny arches and holes created by water rushing through for years and years. Using my live view to see what it's going to look like up here. Use all the tools you have. I'm going to be taking some photos with the GoPro as well. hope anyone watching this already knows. Please don't do this. It's one of my favorite places to shoot here. I've gotten some of my favorite shots, and the light looks amazing right now with the sun just coming in and bouncing around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna climb up top and shoot straight down. You see how that kind of changes your perspective by looking down? Be careful when you're doing stuff like this. Always have a couple points of contact if possible. Here's where I like to shoot from. Finding all these angles, something I learned a long time ago, really pays off in a place like this. Just be a little bit adventurous. Get up here, try something different. It's pretty narrow, but I can still walk almost sideways. Really little pack here. I had to take it off because I couldn't squeeze through. But I wanted to make a personal note. Incredible nature, serenity, it's just calm, especially on a Monday morning. So quiet. I would love to have a coffee right now. Coffee in a canyon. Maybe it's an idea for a new series. Taking photos in here is one of my favorite places to shoot too, so I get to do my favorite thing in my favorite place. That's all, just wanted to say that. Now we hike overland, maybe a quarter of a mile, hike to the next canyon. Just follow the cairns and the footprints and you get there pretty easily. So this is a good opportunity to use the tripod. It's not always easy to use tripods in this space, but in this case, this low arch, as you can see right there, I'm using the wall as part of the foreground that will lead you to the arch. That's why you want to use this wide angle, because I can get close. I can use some of this foreground element. I'm at 0.4 of a second, so I'm able to shoot like that without worrying about motion blur. You can really see how the camera views the light differently than your eye when you use the live view and you try it out like this. So try out some different things. This is a really, really awesome place to be shooting. One of the things I do like to do is include people in my shots. Not usually myself, because I usually can't. I'm going to set the 10-second timer, and then I'm going to run up there and stem and just see what happens. We've reached the one quite challenging part. It's kind of a down climb through these fallen rocks. You either have to climb down through this, and I think you can also squeeze over here, but I think the other way is actually the easy way. The hard part's gonna be this camera dangling around me. So, you know, this drop here is where it gets a little tricky. I found it easier to come through the hole I talked about before, because you can stem with your back and your legs on this wall. This may look precarious, but it's quite secure as long as you're pushing with your feet and have your back against this wall. But when you're taking a foot off, try to keep at least one, but preferably both hands on. And then once you get here, you're basically down. And that's that. Not too hard. If I had no camera gear or water bag, this would be notably easier. This piece of driftwood wedged up in the canyon a little bit above my head. the textures and the shape and just giving you a little bit of a different foreground element makes it an interesting shot. So I'm going to take some shots here. Right, there's a section that I can't do without getting down. My chest and my back, it just won't fit. The only way to do this is to get down like this and slide. Might have lost the button. So that was Peekaboo and Spooky Canyon. Hope that helped. I hope you learned a little bit. Hope you had fun watching me crawl around and stem around in those canyons. I had a really great time doing it. Best thing to know is be ready for darkness even in the middle of the day. Have a tripod. If you can get the f/16, that's great. f/11. Imagine you're shooting a wide landscape. You want to see the foreground and the background. Shoot longer exposures and shoot on a higher or a lower ISO. Don't forget to always look up and down in all directions because you're going to see some really amazing things. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you haven't yet. And keep an eye out for more videos. We'll be doing more tutorials and more stuff out here in the West. See ya.